Indonesian President-elected Prabowo Subianto and Vice President Gibran Rakabuming Raka will be inaugurated in October this year. However, it seems that they will not be able to enjoy a long honeymoon as many challenges awaits for them. Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto and mate team Gibran Rakabuming Raka, who is also the eldest son of President Joko Widodo, have been officially declared as the winners of the 2024 presidential election. However, the pair, who will be officially inaugurated as president and vice president on October 20th, cannot enjoy a long honeymoon because various challenges, especially in the economic section, are waiting in front of them. Several economic observers has revealed the economic challenges that the new president will face in the next 5 years. Former Finance Minister Chatib Basri said the new government must be able to increase Indonesia's economic growth to a level of 6 to 7% a year. If this target is not achieved, Indonesia will be trapped as a middle-income country. According to him, whoever is elected president, Indonesia needs economic growth acceleration. This absolutely must be done if Indonesia wants to achieve its goal to gain a developed nation status by its centennial anniversary in 2045. Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Institute for Development of Economics and Finance, INDEF, Tauhid Ahmad, said the new president would face challenges from within and outside the country. The new president must, for example, be able to overcome the impact of the weakening global economy, which has begun to affect the country's exports. He said the decline in exports could have far-reaching impacts, namely massive layoffs of workers in the sectors. This is something that whoever the president must be aware of. Tauhid said domestic challenges were no less complicated. The new government must immediately find a long-term solution to reduce rising food prices. This is important not only to prevent high inflation, but to provide adequate food supplies for the community. Bank Permata Chief Economist Joshua Pardede assesses that the new president's big job is to increase long-term economic growth. Joshua said the government must strive to increase the productivity of the economy by improving the quality of human resources and production technology, so that with the same input, greater output can be produced. According to him, the key to achieve the target to become a developed nation in 2045 is structural transformation. If this is done, it is quite possible for Indonesia to grow at 6% a year. Executive Director of the Indonesian Center for Reform on Economics, Muhammad Faisal, said the new president cannot just continue the programs carried out by President Jokowi. Because for the past 10 years, the strategy that Jokowi has relied on has only been able to bring economic growth to a level of 5%. There must be a breakthrough policy that is more effective and faster, he said. Apart from the downstream program, the new president also has another heavy task, namely proving more jobs for the people. The new government must not only resolve rising unemployment, but also creating quality jobs, Faisal said. Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto and his teammate Gibran Rakabuming Raka have been officially declared as the winners of the 2024 presidential election amid rising geopolitical tension and global economic slowdown. Our guest on Economic Outlook today, Bapak David Sumual, is the Chief Economist of Bank Central Asia, where he will share his insights on the potential economic challenges to the upcoming government. Hello, Pak David.
Hello, morning, Luis.
Morning, Pak David. Thank you so much for joining us here on Economic Outlook today. Pak David, it seems that the new government has to work extra hard to boost economic growth amid the rising geopolitical tension as well as a global economic slowdown. In your opinion, what are the main economic challenges the new government may face in the next 5 years?
Okay, Luisa, I think there will be a short-term and long-term challenges here. For the short-term one, I think there will be some challenges. For example, the slowing down of the private sector growth momentum lately, not only for consumption, but also investment. In February, we have really strong loan growth, but the demand for loans seem, I think, primarily driven only by the government projects rather than the private sectors. So this is one of the thing that we have to watch very carefully. Second, I see the challenges also coming from the corporate, the slowing down of the corporate revenue growth in the past few quarters. I think it's also related to the elections. But if it prolongs, it may further weaken the private sector growth in the upcoming period. So these are the challenges in the short-term challenges. But there is also some long-term challenges. I think there will be an urgency for us to restructure the domestic economy away from the commodity exports, because we know the ups and downs of the commodity prices will affect us very much. And it should be noted that some of the commodity sectors does not create as many as job opportunities for the current Indonesia's expanding labor force. If we compare with other sectors like manufacturing, agriculture, or service sectors, commodity sectors not create as many as job opportunities, I think. And I think it's also important us for the incoming administrations to bring Indonesian workers into formal labor market, because it's also related to other programs that the upcoming administrations wants to achieve. One of the things is to increase the tax ratio. Right now, the tax ratio is still single digit. We want to increase it to double digit. Even the target is quite high, about 23% for the upcoming government.
Well, Pak David, one of the main economic agendas of the presidential candidate Prabowo Subianto and his teammate is to achieve an economic growth of 8%. Do you think such a target, 8%, is realistic given the unfavorable condition of our global economy at the moment?
To be honest, Luisa, given the current economic condition, I think it's not realistic yet. But I think there is an argument for the 8% growth target. There are some arguments. For example, right now in the world, we see a kind of widening split of global supplies. Actually can provide opportunity for Indonesia to achieve growth target of 8% through rapid industrialization. So I mean industrialization not only in manufacturing sector, but also in agricultural sector. And we see right now actually a fractured global economy. Actually, we can do a provider of commodity for China, for example, and we can also provide or export finished goods to producers like US. Because right now we have oversupply in semi of finished goods in China. So it's an opportunity for us to import the semi-finished goods and to create the finished goods and export it to the Western countries. And I think it's important for us, this is a key, I think, for to provide a healthy investment climate for the global manufacturers to set up factory in Indonesia. So I think it's also important to give an incentive, for a cooperation between big corporates that invest in Indonesia and for them to cooperate with SME.
I
So if
see.
we give some incentive, it will create and absorb job in one hand and also invite more investment to Indonesia. But that's the I think for now it's not so realistic. But in the future, if we improve our administration, our bureaucracy, I think it's an argument, for us to increase the growth above 6%.
Now, speaking of our current economic condition, the household spending remains the main driver of the economic growth. However, the downward trend in its growth lately could reduce its contribution to our GDP. What should the government do to further boost household spending then?
Okay, Luisa. I think one of the quick fix the government could try to boost the fiscal. So we can prolong the fiscal expansion program. I think it's important to increase the spending for the time being, because right now the private sector growth is actually declining, lately. I think another thing is try to improve the bank's liquidity condition. So right now the liquidity is a little bit tight. I think currently the high deposit rate right now seems to increase the upper to middle income households saving rate. So it reduces their appetite to expand their consumption spending, especially in durable goods items. I think lower deposit rate will encourage households to consume more, and I think it will contribute and should trickle down to the lower income household disposable income too. So I think that there are two things: fiscal expansion and also try to improve also liquidity in the market.
Pak David, you mentioned before about investment and also the importance of labor absorption. Now, Indonesia's investment growth have remained relatively high, but the ratio of labor absorption remains low. In your opinion, what should the government do so that the new investments can provide more employment for the people?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, despite a significant contribution of in boosting export, investment trend towards sectors impacted by the mineral downstreaming program does not translate positively to expanding domestic labor market. So the absorptions of mining and also smelter sector is not as big as other sectors like I mentioned before. So we need labor-intensive industry and also try to increase labor absorption in other sectors like service sector, for example. And as I think the government should expand the downstreaming program to labor and value-added intensive sector in manufacturing and also agriculture. And the government may also increase give some policy that would increase employment opportunity in rural areas, for example, by improving the domestic food security.
Now, final question here. As part of its long-term program, Indonesia aims to gain a status as a high-income or developed country by 2045, or the Golden Indonesia. With the current economic condition, though, what priority programs the government must do to achieve this goal?
I think it's crucial for the government to expand the labor market. We have the demographic dividend right now. But if they don't, if the next government doesn't expand the labor market, I think the demographic dividend may turn out to be a demographic disaster. So this one of very important. Second, I think policy to boost industrialization is really important. Should be a priority for the current administrations and also the successors, the next government. Especially for, as I mentioned before, the labor-intensive industry and also export, manufacturing, and also service sector. So industrialization in domestic and food energy sectors, I think should be prioritized, and also considering the high demand for food and energy that comes from the increasing population and also higher living standards lately. So I think the current administration has provided some foundations for industrialization, and I think the successor can also build on in the programs that already built by the current government. For example, the job creation law, and I think the next government should further develop the infrastructure projects. And lastly, I think what remains to be seen is how the next administration would improve the bureaucracy to speed up the investment drive.
All right, well, let's hope for the best, shall we? Bapak David Sumual, Chief Economist from Bank Central Asia, thank you so much for joining us on Economic Outlook today. Have a good day.
Thank you, Luisa. See you again.